Hey guys, Starlet44 here. I need no introduction, but I got one anyway. And just to let you know, I'm working on a new Second Co episode, which will air whenever I finish it. But for the time being, I'm going to do a commentary on the Second Co episode, Caravan, which, as most of you may or may not remember, it was based off of a Magic Roundabout story, which I've talked about a number of times before. Yeah, this was around sometime after Dougal and the Blue Cat was released on DVD, and I wanted to make an episode which would celebrate the long-awaited release of it on DVD. And I ended up choosing Caravan because it was one of the first Magic Roundabout stories I memorised, as I've mentioned before in other videos. And I was kind of thinking of how I was going to make it work as a Second Co story, because pretty much every single episode of the Magic Roundabout was like 5 minutes long, and I wanted this to be about 18 to 20 minutes long, so I had to come up with new things for it to make it seem like a longer story. Like I had to come up with new jokes and new things, and I even came up with a reason to why the guys went on the caravan holiday. It was because the guys were really bored because they didn't really have anything to sell and all that. Like, for Second Co to go on the caravan holiday, it was all to do with boredom. Yeah, for them it was boredom. And I still love that line when Sek says, like, you know, we've only got like 20 minutes of this episode. Another example of the characters breaking the fourth wall. And as you know, I love to do that. Yeah, I had to include Bubs in the episode, because who doesn't love Bubs?
And the only thing we've had to entertain us is that idiot over there.
What an ugly face. How'd you like to wake up to that in the morning? Yeah, and Slevene obviously got extremely excited about the whole holiday thing. Like the idea of going on holiday. And some of you may or may not know, but this little scene was actually based off of Dougal and the Blue Cat when Dougal and Buxton go to the moon. I just ended up finding that old Star Wars ship lying around somewhere on my person and decided to use it as the ship that they go to the moon in. And yeah, I redid almost every line that Eric Thompson did in Dougal and the Blue Cat for that scene. Even up to the whole lack of water bit and finding out that there is no lack of water on the moon. Yeah, here it comes. Yeah, that just shows that there's no lack of water on the moon. And this video was back when I didn't really have that much photo stop animation skills, at least at that time. And you could tell here that I was just making the characters move really quick rather than having them moving frame by frame all the time. But this video does have some of them moving frame by frame at some points, but not all the time. It's just at certain moments. And in case you were wondering about that music and transition, that was actually from the videotape that Magic Roundabout episode originally came from. That was the video that I saw that episode from. So I decided to use that kind of transition and that music for the transition of when Second Cyber are at the caravan, which is clearly a wooden railway coach. Yeah, and I had to come up with a reason for them not wanting Slevene to be around, so I just had the idea that Sek would just tell him to meet them at the station and just not turn up and have him waiting all day so that he doesn't ruin their holiday. Yeah, that's very Sek. And I do regret not putting the original Dougal line, "Now before you say anything, I want you to think very, very carefully," from the original episode. I do regret not putting that line in the episode, because that was the starting line for the original story, but I couldn't really think of anything right for that line, so yeah, if I had to go back and do this episode, which I don't really have the time to do, then I'd most probably find a way to put that line in the episode. And that whole trampoline thing was just another random joke I came up with. I don't know where I got the joke from. It just came from my head. Yeah, just another way to keep the episode running for longer than 5 minutes, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and this was this bit was the excuse for Cyber to go off and leave Sek to sort out the caravan on his own.
Sells a lot of camping food.
And this is another one of the few Sekiko videos where I use Lego plants and Lego trees in the background. Yeah, it's a pretty good drawing of a chicken, I think, for what it was, yeah. Yeah, you would have noticed that around the field where the caravan is, I just use bits of Lego leaves and bushes and trees. Yeah, because I wanted to give that scene a bit of a, like, foresty kind of feel to it. Here's a good example of very good stop motion animation. Yeah. Yeah, you could tell that my animation skills were improving by that point. Yeah. And this was, of course, from the Caravan episode where Dougal's originally trying to get in the van without any success at all. Yeah, I just had a great time putting Sek in that situation where he had to try and get in there to get the keys out of the van. But, of course, failing because Dougal failed in the original, so Sek had to fail too. Yeah. Yeah, that was simple stop motion too, from the moving the caravan, aka coach, about. Yeah. And I still love that line where Sek just thinks about it and then says, "I'm gonna get a hammer." Yeah, it was just a way to get the story running longer, of course. Like, I thought of having Sek come up with various ways to try and open the caravan, rather than just doing what Dougal did and like doing it with one attempt. I thought it'd be hilarious if Sek tried several things, because, like I said, I wanted to keep the episode running longer than 5 minutes, and yeah, Sek first tries to open it with a hammer, of course without any success. But that's Sek's luck for you, not having a lot of success. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that bit. Like him trying the hammer and then going, I need something better than a hammer. Yeah, it's great fun. And this was one of those stories where I keep cutting to characters in each of their scenarios. Slipping crying his eyes out. Sorry, laughing at my own jokes, that's a bit immature. But this was the kind of episode where I had to keep swapping from scene to scene to see what the characters were getting up to. Like this one where Sek does his evil laugh and tries to open the caravan with a gun. That just shows you how crazy Sek can get at times. But of course that fails too after he runs out of bullets. Yeah. Yeah, very... And of course Rosie makes a cameo in the episode, carrying the caravan, aka coach, as a coach actually. Yeah, I love to give Rosie cameos.